Hi, today I want to introduce my ex-mentor from Switzerland during my traveling. Before I met him, I didn't know how to feel my emotions or people's emotions. So thanks to him, and also before I met him, I don't know how to feel my feeling or other people's feeling, and I don't know what I want to do. Thanks to him, I could find my vision again, and also I can communicate or feel the others feeling much more than before.
Good. I mean, if I can help, I am happy to help. If we are going to talk about the time that we spent together, I will be focusing mainly on the development that you've been doing intellectually as well as emotionally, and also the fitness journey. Obviously, if you're going to ask me what's the difference between then and now, so since we have stopped working together and today, I will be honest and saying I can see that you're working very circular right now onto one specific subject.
Yeah.
And that you have left out everything else for the sake of getting this done. So passion is one thing. The other thing is also recognizing the importance of calming your nervous system, calming your thoughts, because only if your thoughts are clear and calm, you can really make clear and quality decisions and processes. But that's ultimately up to you, right? How you're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I totally understand. I think you're right. I totally understand. But I cannot get out of this trap.
Yeah, so that's also a reason why people come to me, So basically the idea of how to integrate small pockets of reflective time where you can organize your thoughts. That's so important.
I understand. You're right. I don't deny.
Great. So yeah, let's get it started. You can ask me any question. I will be answering it as best as I can.
By the way, I stopped going to my university.
Why?
Because it's too much. I went to two semesters and I get some, but I stopped currently stop period again. Now I think it's impossible.
Yeah. Why is it impossible? So you stopped because it's too much and because you couldn't manage work and university and everything together. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think I don't have to go Stanford right now, next year or next years. So and everyone, our team is kind of full commit. So I think I cannot, throw away my responsibility. So maybe in the long future, when I was 35, 36, 37, I want to go. But that's why I want to get the degree as well. But I can kind of skip it and I can single focus on me.
I understand. So does that mean you want to restart your process of practice and coaching, or do you just want to zone into your work now and just get that done?
Coaching with you?
Yes.
I'm interested, but right now I don't have budget. So that is why I'm interested, but I don't decide. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
No worry, I'm here. There's no need for you to rush. So I think first let's do this interview. You're going to ask me the questions. I'll be answering as best as I can to make sure you have quality data. And then we can talk about how we can continue the work together. Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
So I ask questions could you before I ask questions, could you share your kind of introductions? And
of course.
How do you met me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So first of all, it's a pleasure to meet you today, Hidetaka. It has been a long time that we talked together. I've been asked to recount a little bit of our story. We've been working together for more than 18 months and even more, I believe. So for quite a long time. I've met Hidetaka when I been visiting a retreat in south of Thailand on the island of Koh Samui. I'm a fitness and mental trainer by trade. And so part of the retreat was for me just to get connected with new people that I don't know. And part of the group that I was with was here, Mr. Hidetaka. And it was very interesting because at the beginning, I didn't really think much of him because he was just, he wasn't really saying a lot. He was just there. And then as the retreat, as the days gone by, we started to have conversations, and it turned out that he was actually battling with the consequences of a burnout. And so for me, it was interesting because that was, at the time, it was a specialty that I was focusing on, how to help people get out of burnout. I was heavily invested in studying the biochemistry, the neurological effects, and also onsets. How do burnouts even happen? How do people get in there? And of course, how people get out of burnout. So we had a conversation, another one and another one and another one. And eventually when the retreat was ending, he joined me in Copenhagen, in Bangkok, I'm sorry. And so we spent a lot of time in Bangkok, first also talking about fitness and how important it was to make sure that fitness was getting better. We worked around his habits, his routines. We started to understand that the way that Hidetaka was seeing himself, the way that he saw, his life and everything was incredibly colored by an idea that he had to always outperform everyone else around him. And if he wouldn't do that, he would not be enough. So it was very clear to me quite soon, actually, that his belief systems were sabotaging his well-being. He would perhaps get good at what he does, and he would also create incredible results. But in the process, he would usually lose sight of his health and his vitality and also the relationships. So he told me a lot about that. And so we spent the following months and eventually years on helping him to establish emotional resilience, to level up his communication styles. We integrated, healthy habits around eating. We talked about how he was able to eventually create gym routines. He got closer to girls again, and that was beautiful to see. So in that time which we spent together, I saw how much that this man, which prior to our engagement was focusing only on the results of his work, on the numbers, so to say, and basically forsaking everything else. In time, he would slowly start to become, say, warm again. He would be curious about life, about his creativity, about working with people again, and so forth. So that's basically how I got to connect with Hidetaka, and it was an incredible journey to see this sort of massive shift from sort of burnout over to an emotional, intelligent young man that was really curious about how to experience his life in fullness.
Okay, thank you very much for detailed explanations. Yeah, is totally correct.
You're welcome.
Already said, but at that time, what kind of impression did you have on me?
So again, as I shared, my impression was of a man that was hungry for success, hungry for validation. I had the impression that nothing was more important than people appreciating and liking him. I had the impression that if there was any sacrifice that Hidetaka had to make in order to get the validation and appreciation, the approval of the people around him, he would make it. That was my impression back then. And I understood it to be my job to help him to come to a self-acceptant, self-appreciative point of view of his life and himself, so that he is not dependent on the feedbacks of other people outside of him, and eventually would find peace.
So I had a strong kind of passions about I need to prove for others instead of
yes,
for me. So what feedback do you think became the biggest trigger for my growth?
It's a great question. So I think the biggest feedback was understanding how little spontaneity you experienced in life. So I remember we spent time together in Copenhagen as well, where we made this little experiment where you were supposed to just follow spontaneously whatever you found on the road. I remember you recounting a specific story where you were on your motorcycle and spontaneously you just had the idea to go left at a turnaround and you went to the beach and you just went there. And you told me afterwards how that would feel so great to you because it wasn't structured. There was no, I have to something now. And so I recognize that the idea of being spontaneous and just doing what you wanted to do rather than continuously overanalyzing what is the right way to do it and what people might think, etc. In my eyes, I found that this was certainly a big trigger for a very important shift that I've been observing.
So like do spontaneously actions instead of like in just your mind. Exactly,
because if you consider the number one factor to burnout is actually not the physical burning out, but it's the mental burning out where we have such a long list of things that we have to do, people that we have to talk to, say like deadlines we have to meet. So it's all about keeping a structure alive in your mind that would continuously weigh on you. So it's real, but it's in your head. So the more that we can instill, say, spontaneous action all throughout the day, where it doesn't matter whether or not this action is giving you some like monetary or otherwise payoff, that just feels naturally very calming and soothing to a person. So I found that this certainly helped a lot.
I see. Why did you try to that advice? Like, what's that difference?
If we look at most of my client relationship right now, when it comes to mental training, the number one factor that keeps people small and stressed out is the underlying shame and the shame pattern that build onto the idea that you're not good enough, right? And so that's basically what drives people into overwhelm, into depression, into everything. It's like what you're delivering is not good enough. And if you're not delivering what you're supposed to deliver, then you are not good enough, etc. So the reason why I like to help people figure out ways to become more courageous in their personal preference and expression has been shown to me over the past decade to be an incredible, conduit for healing when it comes to experience a life of joy, right? A life of happiness. So the reason why spontaneity in your case, or in the case of Hidetaka here, was because he was very unspontaneous. He was incredibly structured. It's like you had a clear structure and no left and right. It's everything work, and nothing else. So naturally that would lead to overwhelm, of course. And so I would, the first stage that I like to introduce in such a system is small incremental spontaneous actions outside of the given norm. And so in case of Hidetaka here, that has had a massive effect because he suddenly told me about how that was fun to just spontaneously go someplace and then maybe talk to random people and see how that turned out. So he was not only developing spontaneity again, but also courage, because it needs a lot of courage to step outside of your normative structure and perhaps also renegotiate priorities a little bit when it comes to your daily life, right?
I see. Thank you very much. I think I remember that thing as well. So and that is why I went to Basel at that time, and I didn't regret. I was feeling a good time in Switzerland as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks to your advice. Like, how did you objectively see the patterns of failure I was facing back then?
So the interesting concept of failure is that we are having an expectation which we then reason to not have met, right? When I saw Hidetaka and the way that he was defining the first cycle of his project, Homie, in how it was not meeting expectations, he was starting to define this as failure. Now, the interesting thing for me is that how I define failure is entirely different, because the idea of failure for me requires someone to stop what they are doing. So when I was talking to Hidetaka, he never actually stopped working at Homey. So, I mean, the project's still alive. This is the reason why we're sitting in this call, right? So in my eyes, he never failed. He just made detours after detours in order to learn necessary tools and skills that were eventually helping him to make the next step. So I never saw his journey as a failure because he never stopped, right? Most people, and myself included, when they negotiate the idea of failure, they're looking at one singular topic that they have or have not met successfully, and then decide that as a failure. In my case, I can only ever fail when I stop trying. And so Hidetaka is to this day trying and building and working his ass off. And so I never resonated with the idea of him telling me that he was failing. He certainly has tried things, attempted certain ways to make his venture a success, and they have worked. Some of them did not work well. But I believe that to this day, he has not made one failure. He has perhaps made mistakes, but that's also necessary because otherwise we cannot sophisticate our approach. So that's just my take and my view on it.
I see. Thank you very much. And I don't know why, like, before we met, like, I don't want to stay home anymore. Like, like at that moment, I think that a feeling I had, like, I don't want to touch. And I want to find something new, something different. Like, but like, I completely changed from that mind to purely homey of homey. So I think that is very interesting. Like,
absolutely. I think also I remember having this conversation when you really were considered to leave homey, and the idea. I think that was the closest, perhaps, that you came to failing the project homey. But really, it was also because you didn't really see a way forward, you know? So it was certainly quite difficult, the way that I understood it, that you were finding some form of hope, some form of interest, you know, some passion, some spark. And I remember very distinctly that over a period of 2-3 months that we worked together, somewhere in the middle, we had very deep conversations around the subject of homey and how important that it was originally for you and why it was important and what you really loved about the original idea.
Yeah.
And so I remember that you always enjoyed traveling, you enjoyed connecting with people, you enjoyed tremendously how people were living and to see how they were experiencing life. And so that's what the original form was for you to idea. Okay, so what everybody needs who enjoys travel, who enjoys cultures, who enjoys perhaps also studies abroad, etc., would be an application where they could meet people, and not only for meeting out, but also to, to live in their houses and homes. So I thought homey was a tremendous idea, was a great idea, and necessary even. But the question was how to go about it. And we also understood and established that a major problem for for Hidetaka at the time, was that he didn't really have the emotional intelligence, the understanding of humans as what they were needing and how they were functioning. So relationship was not really something that he was well equipped with. And so obviously that was difficult when you're trying to create an application, a software for people, without really understanding how people and relationships work well, which was then later becoming the main focus of our work together, so that you would eventually understand how people were functioning and that relationships is at the core of the well-being of people, right?
Yeah. I remember, like, after your coaching with you, like, when I see homey again, profile page again, and I was curious why who created this design, like why this design is okay, like who decided, like obviously me, but like why I didn't realize that thing. Like I think I was lacking of like emotional intelligence. I don't have empathy at all. Like, so I think that is key element for founders and like to create a product. I that is one of the most important things I learned from you and that exam period. This Zoom like is like gone like within 2 minutes. That's why can I delete it and also share the new link as well?
Of course, no problem.
Yeah, sorry.
I can also take over host if you like, and then we can continue.
Yeah.
Because if I am host, we have indefinite time, right?
Could you try today?
Yeah, but you have to give me host. I can, because you are the host right now, so you would have to give me host. So if you go on to participants.
Yeah, I did.
And now I am host. Yes. So theoretically, it should now just continue to be working, meeting duration.
It's not working.
Okay, so basically the time limit will apply because you've created the it doesn't change if I am host.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing that we can do is we're just closing this. You take the recording and we would be having another conversation in a second. I'll be sending you a meeting link.
Okay, so you will send.
And then yes, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll wait. Okay.
Okay,
So
see you in a moment. Hi. So I'm going to make you host now. So you basically can record it on your end and keep the recording.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so I have time, another 15 minutes or so, and then I need to leave to the next meeting, yes?
Yeah. So last questions, how do you feel about the change you see in me since that time in totally?
Okay, so this question is a tricky question because it has layers, right?
Okay.
So from the beginning, when we started the work over the following years, I also remember how I visited you in Japan, and we've been working together very closely for about 5 weeks. I saw massive changes in terms of how you were treating yourself, how you were treating the people around you. Your communication abilities and emotional intelligence have been dramatically improving, especially your fitness. I remember the changes in your body, how you've been becoming more muscular, and just your health and vitality seem to increase. And then I remember you choosing to follow the path of the university because that was important at the time. And you were stopping the coaching process with me, which I totally understood because, coaching, training is something that has cycles. So usually people take a first cycle that can be months, years, sometimes only weeks, and then usually they stop in order to integrate, right? And so at some point, usually people come back and say, like, I'm ready for the next step. That's normal. In any case, now that we are talking about after a year or so, or even more, I recognize that you actually have reverted a lot back to before, like, so when we started out. I remember that a major factor to your health and vitality was that you had other obligations outside of work. And now today we are meeting, and when I asked you how are you doing today, it was basically again just single focus on work and nothing else. So I believe that you have learned a lot during that time that we worked together. But the habits and say the routines which actually helped you to stay healthy are now gone again because you found another focus point onto which to latch on and then just, basically forget everything else, which is understandable because this project right now seems to be incredibly important. And I think you should really put any effort and resources into it for it to be succeeding. On the other end, however, I am always on the cautious side just to say, recognizing that your health and vitality ultimately are the foundation on top of which you are building whatever, be that a house, a family, a project, is where I notice, okay, so that lesson hasn't been learned that profoundly enough for you to still stay in the mix there. But on the other end, certain things we need to address a couple of times. So I do notice that you have, in my eyes, you became more courageous. When I'm looking at your social media presence and the way that you are coming forth, I really appreciate how you're open, how you're talking to people. So certainly the learnings around communication and empathy, they have certainly worked out a lot. So I think you're in a great place also to consider what is currently missing for the overall success of your venture, and that this may actually be a little less in terms of direct workload to be solved, but more like the foundation on top of which you are actually working day by day.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Lastly, I don't have questions. Definitely, that was a really good experience for me, and thank you. Sometime when I share my story or founding story of Next Homie, I mentioned about you, other friends feel interesting, because I think there no one Japanese do such things, and also it's kind of a unique story. So that's why I think I understand how unique it is, the story, and that is really appreciated. And also now is I'm very interested in how we can create best product for customers, and how we can improve the product consistently, improve. And I would pursue how the best product, how detail. I learned being the detail is really important. I think that element, definitely I can learn during the process, and with that process I can transform from just homestay matching to more comprehensive platform. I think that is also, I think that visions, definitely I can apply the element to my product by so that is what I really appreciate. And thanks to you.
You're welcome. To work with you is a very interesting process. With every single client that I have and I work with, I really appreciate to see the changes, So I think going forward, two things might be very helpful to consider. One of which is that you never failed because you never stopped. So maybe to delete the idea of failure and maybe introduce learning from mistakes, because mistakes are necessary in order to grow. And the second one is, when it comes to a product that involves connection and people, we want to be understanding what is it that people are needing, what is it that people are looking for, right? Wanting, the needing and the wanting. And how can people feel this is a great tool, not just because it's functional and all the metrics are working, but also just to feel at home on the platform, and using the application is something exciting, and it also very useful, functional, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Any other questions that I can help you with today?
Yeah, do you have any advice other than this? That chat is
Meditation, number one. Running or some form of fitness, cardio fitness, anything, it doesn't really matter. Those two, and check for your nutrition so that what you're eating is actually helping you and not just, some form of trash. If you consider those three things and you make sure that your sleep is adequate, then you should be making a success in whatever venture that you're investing into. So if you like, we can also have a conversation about that specific, but I'd have to run to my next meeting. Let me know. You can text me via the channels that we are engaged in if you are interested in seeing how we can work together. At this point in time, I also have a fully functioning platform with trainings and all sorts of nutrition plans, etc. So it's much easier than when we used to work together, because now it's everything in one app. So let me know if that's interesting. And in any case, Hidetaka, I wish you from the bottom of my heart a lot of success. You deserve it. You put everything on the line every single day. I really, really appreciate that about you. I think you are one of the most dedicated people that I know. Incredibly disciplined, maybe to the point where it becomes, damaging to your health. So I really hope that you are staying on the good side of your venture there in terms of your output. But hey, I just love what you're trying to build. I have believed into the vision of Homey from the very beginning. I really love the idea of matching people in their homes and where they can live and stay. So I believe that this is certainly a program, a software, a product that we need as a society, the longer the more. So keep it going. And if I can ever be of service, if I can ever help you with something, just let me know.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have 3 minutes?
Yes, I have.
I just want to share the update. Traveler can get the map, not only homestay, like local spot or activity, like all in one. And you can see the people, you can connect and chat, and you can ask AI as well. Like that is kind of like people traveling platform. Like we not only homestay, but also like, put ecosystem around people. But that is like we are going for. Thank you very much.
Do you have a question?
No, just questions for a minute, and I just want to share.
Okay, so this looks great. I remember we having talked about how important it is that you have a map where you see live stream of people that are in the area and also events.
Yeah.
3 things that I would like for you to zone in on is events, any possibilities, and also that you have people who are dedicated to establish and manage events for local areas, such as like Osaka meetings or say Tokyo meetouts, where people are meeting together, which are say created ideally by the platform itself. So one is that people can create their own meetings, and others are created from the platform to make sure that people are engaging, right? So those are the 2 things that I'm suggesting. I see that you're already doing that to some degree. Just make sure to establish that as soon as possible. The other one, of course, is like, so these are meetouts. The other one would be that you help people for healthy, say, habits, because I understand that this is number 1 thing that people are wanting when they go abroad. They go somewhere else in order to reestablish new habits and new routines. So you can think about integrating that factor, be that like through some video courses that you give or create for the community, where they can see, okay, so you are now in Osaka, and here is a little video course about Osaka and its history, so that wherever people are going, whatever city that you cover, they already have a certain amount of information about the city within the platform, and that gives them a certain overview. Okay, so I'm now in Osaka, I have this history, and that's what I can do here, etc., so that you give them already something to do and work with, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks I really appreciate your advice. Yeah.
You're welcome. So if you want to have further conversations and my input in terms of the productivity or efficiency of the platform, let's set up another meeting and then we can talk about it in depth.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I want to check out.
All right. So send me a link or something that I can set up a meeting again in your calendar. You can send it to me via Telegram, and I'll be making sure to set up another meeting.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And when
my pleasure, and I talk to you soon.
Yeah, and I get upload video, I just update, and also I can share your coaching link on the YouTube. So
of course, yes,
share,
yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
See you soon, my man.
Thank you very much. See you.
Bye. You're welcome.